My name is Natalie Hart. I was 34 years old when a stranger sat across from me in a small cafe in River North, Chicago, and told me not to file for divorce. It was early afternoon. The place smelled like burnt coffee and rain-soaked coats. Office workers murmured around us, laptops open, lives moving normally. Nothing about the moment looked dramatic, yet my chest tightened, as if the air itself had shifted. The man introduced himself as Daniel Reed. Calm voice. Careful posture. Not nervous. Not angry. Just controlled. He said my husband's name the way someone states a fact, not an accusation. Your husband is seeing my wife. I didn't gasp. I didn't cry. Something colder settled in my stomach. Confirmation carries a weight that suspicion never does. Daniel placed a thick envelope on the table between us but didn't open it. He looked at me and said a sentence that still echoes in my head. If you move first, you lose. I stared at the envelope. My hands were steady, even though my heart was racing. I had imagined this moment 100 times. I thought I would scream, confront, collapse. Instead, I sat still. Daniel spoke quietly. Courts don't hear pain, they hear proof. Emotional reactions protect the people who lied to you. Patience protects you. He told me he'd learned that the hard way. Lawyers. Documentation. Dates. Locations. Patterns. Somewhere between his words and the low hum of the cafe, I understood something important. This wasn't revenge. It was a warning. Before everything broke, I believed my life was simple, stable. I had been married to Eric Whitaker for 7 years. He worked in logistics. Long hours, predictable routines. I worked remotely as a localization specialist, translating documents at our kitchen table, while the radio played softly in the background. We weren't dramatic people. No grand gestures. No surprise trips. Our marriage was built on routine: Saturday groceries, Friday takeout, movies where Eric always fell asleep before the ending. He wasn't romantic, but he was reliable. He fixed things. He showed up. He paid the bills. I told myself this was what grown-up love looked like. Looking back, I see how easily I confused quiet with loyalty. There were no obvious warning signs. No shouting. No explosive fights. Just a peaceful house and a predictable life. I believed the absence of conflict meant the presence of trust. I was wrong. The changes arrived quietly. Eric started coming home later. 9 o'clock became 10. 10 became midnight. A new contract, he said. Pressure at work. I believed him. Then his phone changed. Face down. Pocketed. Checked quickly. Turned away. A new scent appeared in our bathroom: cologne. Eric had never worn cologne in 7 years. He said it was a sample from work. His clothes changed. Better fitted. Haircuts moved from the old barber to a salon. Weekends were suddenly gym days. He came home energized, lighter, happier. Just not with me. None of these things were wrong on their own. What unsettled me was the timing. If you've ever felt your house grow colder without a single argument, you understand. Nothing loud enough to confront. Everything wrong enough to haunt you. At night, I lay awake listening to him breathe, wondering when the shift had happened. I wasn't looking for proof yet. I was looking for reassurance. But my body already knew what my heart was trying to deny. The moment everything changed happened on an ordinary weekday evening. I was having dinner with a friend near the Loop, seated by a window facing the street. Traffic lights reflected off the glass. Umbrellas passed by. Then I saw him. Eric. He was inside a cafe across the street. Relief flickered, until I saw the woman sitting across from him. Dark hair. Wine-colored coat. They leaned toward each other as they spoke. Eric was smiling. Not his polite smile. Not the tired one he brought home. This one was open. Relaxed. Familiar. Then he reached across the table and took her hand. It wasn't dramatic. It was casual, the kind of touch that doesn't ask permission because it's been repeated many times. My body froze. My friend followed my gaze, grabbed my arm and whispered that we should leave. I let her pull me away. That night the apartment felt staged. Like a set I no longer belonged to. Eric came home after midnight. His voice was normal. Too normal. I realized then. People lie calmly when the lie has become routine. I didn't confront him. I asked a gentle question. He answered easily. And that's when I made my decision. I wouldn't react. Not yet. Because once you see the truth, you don't get to unsee it. And I needed to be smart about what came next. I began living a double life. On the outside, nothing changed. Coffee. Small talk. Good nights. Inside, I watched everything. I documented times. Excuses. Patterns. I didn't follow him. I didn't check his phone. I only recorded what already existed. When he said he was working late, I drove past his office once. His car wasn't there. When he said he was going to the gym, I checked the membership. One check-in. That's when the weight hit me. Knowing someone is lying without being able to prove it is like hearing a smoke alarm with no fire in sight. I met with a divorce attorney quietly. He told me what I didn't want to hear but needed to understand. Suspicion is not evidence. Emotion teaches liars how to hide better. So I waited. Daniel Reed appeared on a Tuesday afternoon. He showed me the photos. Restaurants. Parking garages. Movie theaters. Dates and times carefully labeled. The woman was the same one from the cafe. Relief and grief arrived together. Daniel slid a flash drive across the table. You'll need this if you decide to protect yourself. 3 days later he called again. This time he had a plan. We met at the same cafe. He placed a black case beside him and opened it. Stacks of cash. I'm asking you not to file yet, he said. Not a bribe. Compensation for endurance. If I moved first, Eric would panic. Panic would reach Brooke. Evidence would disappear. Waiting would do the opposite. I agreed. Not for the money but for the ending I deserved. The next weeks required discipline. No emotions. Only facts. Patterns overlapped. Trips aligned. A condo lease surfaced. 2 bedrooms. Evanston. Eric's name. Cohabitation changed everything. We filed the same morning. Same hour. No warning. By the time Eric realized what was happening, the truth had nowhere left to hide. The court didn't care about pain. Cared about proof. And proof doesn't raise its voice. Simply exists. Today my home feels light again. I sleep through the night. I reclaimed my space. My life. This story isn't about revenge. It's about self-respect supported by evidence. I didn't win because I waited. I won because I waited with purpose.